Just close your eyes. Know the peace within.
What is the need to be conscious of yourself? What is this consciousness? And what are you? You need to find out the answers by yourself. What is the need to be conscious of yourself? You never know what this consciousness is, and you never remain conscious of yourself. Though you come to know your presence only because of the consciousness within, and the entire manifestation within space is only out of the consciousness within. What is this manifestation within space? Manifestations are nothing but the expressions of the consciousness within space. Your consciousness itself is reflected as cosmos, world, galaxies, universe, and whatever the term you can use within space. Whatever object, whether living or non-living, that appear within space is only because of the consciousness within you just now. Each and every object, irrespective of the shape and design and mass, irrelevant of the movement and appearances and behavior, each and every object, whether living or non-living, is nothing but the reflection of your consciousness within. Your consciousness does not know that it is consciousness. Here you means only consciousness. There are no persons. But unknowingly your consciousness accepts itself to be a person at the form level, not knowing how the form happens. Just now, you do not know how the breathing happens spontaneously, how the heartbeat happens spontaneously. You don't do anything. It just happens. Entire metabolic activity happens spontaneously just now without any effort. You don't make any effort for the blood circulation to happen. It just goes on spontaneously. So whatever you call it as a form or any object is made up of innumerable, countless, unlimited number of electrons, photons, quarks. In terms of science, you can say like this. So altogether, in a nutshell, I say each and every object is happening just now spontaneously by the interaction of the elements. It is not you, first of all, including your form. You don't make any effort for the form to be here. Each and every cell appears and disappears at an unexplainable speed just now, scientifically. You don't make any effort. But you never know that everything is by consciousness. And that is also within you. It is not separate from you. Your consciousness is not somewhere far away from you. Just now, whatever you speak about, whatever you describe about, whatever you narrate about, everything is happening just now, out of the consciousness within you. This secret you are yet to find out. To know that only out of your consciousness entire world is functioning, entire cosmos are functioning, entire galaxies is functioning. First, you must know the consciousness within through stillness. You are the supreme hero. You are an emperor already. Out of your consciousness only, the world happens just now. But unknowingly, your consciousness accepts itself as a tiny form with a fixed shape and design to be itself. So the first point itself is contradictory. Consciousness within unknowingly accepts itself to be a form which is happening just now out of itself. Your consciousness is prior to form. Form happens out of your consciousness. But your consciousness is holding the form to be itself, not knowing that only out of itself the form happens. So your consciousness does not know that it is consciousness. And it does not know its immense potential. It does not know what it is. Till your consciousness goes within and find out that it is only consciousness within, it is continuously accepting the form level duality show to be real, to be real, to be real. Your consciousness does not know what is real. So it accepts the unreal to be real, as it is yet to find out the reality within. Reality is within, but it is searching itself outside through material. Consciousness is within. It is beyond matter, beyond space, beyond time, beyond manifestation. It never knows that it is within, so it is searching itself outside. That's why it never remains peaceful. It always remains disturbed. It gets perturbed by each and every events or happenings that occur spontaneously within duality. So your consciousness never remains peaceful by accepting itself to be a form with a fixed shape and design, and by accepting that it is born and it is going to die. It never remains peaceful because it is yet to know the reality that it is never born and it cannot die and it is ever present and it is prior to duality. It is beyond space, beyond manifestation. Your consciousness is non-dual, but it doesn't know about itself. So your consciousness knowing itself is more important. Then only your consciousness can wake up from the duality show and know what it is. What is this consciousness? This consciousness is not a word. It is beyond word. It is beyond space. It is not a movement. It is beyond movement. Movement happens out of it. It is beyond words. Words happen out of it. It is beyond space. Space happens out of it. Just now. It is beyond duality. Duality happens out of it. So your consciousness, which is prior to space, accepts itself to be the space, which is prior to time, accepts itself to be the time, which is prior to words, accepts itself to be the word, which is prior to movement, accepts itself to be the movement. So continuously your consciousness is trapped at the duality level as it is yet to know its non-dual reality within. Your consciousness is the light within. Your consciousness is yet to know the light within. It is always trapped by the forms which happens out of the light, which is the reflection of the light. Your consciousness, which is light, should know that it is only light at present. But your consciousness never goes inward, neither abides inward, so it does not know that it is consciousness. So whatever I tell, whatever I teach, it is something new to your consciousness because it has never gone inwardly, it has never settled inwardly, it has never stabilized inwardly, never settles inwardly, neither stabilizes inwardly. So your consciousness remains totally ignorant about itself constantly. This ignorance level continues at the form level identities. Your consciousness contains the seed of the entire manifestation, but it never knows its highest potential. Your consciousness cannot die, but it never knows its deathlessness. Your consciousness is ever present, it never appears and disappears. Only matter appears and disappears. Where? In your consciousness. So your consciousness remains totally ignorant throughout the waking state, and it never knows what it is exactly. It is continuously and constantly trapped by the duality level show through form level identity, space level identity, time level identity, and all happenings to be real, to be real. Then how your consciousness can wake up? Your consciousness can wake up and know what it is only by going inwardly, because its original state is beyond space. Only its expressions are within space. Your consciousness is reflected as innumerable variations of manifestations within space. But your consciousness does not know that it is within, so it accepts the innumerable variations of manifestation to be real, to be real, to be real. Your consciousness is accepting the reflection of itself to be real because it is yet to know what it is. So your consciousness, knowing itself beyond duality, beyond space, is mandatory. Otherwise, continuously your consciousness is deceived by its own reflection. Listen deeply, then only you can understand what I am arriving at. Consciousness constantly get deceived by the innumerable reflections within space to be real, to be real, to be real. How long? Till your consciousness knows that it is only within, within, within. Why I go on emphasize this word? Because truth is within, your consciousness is within. The seed of entire manifestation is within. The reality is within. The exact truth, the ultimate truth about yourself is within. But you never go within, then how will you know what you are? I am asking you, what are you? Because I know what you are and you are yet to know. You take only the form level identity to be yourself within space. It's fine. But it is not real. You are yet to know the reality about your consciousness. Your consciousness gets to know the exact beauty about itself, the exact supreme truth about itself, when? Only by abiding in this stillness constantly, consistently, without break. Your consciousness is already in the source itself. So the source is absolute awareness, and you are that. Originally, you are the absolute awareness. To know that you are only absolute awareness, consciousness is essential. Only through consciousness you come to know that you are. But unknowingly your consciousness accepts itself to be the form. It is trapped by the duality show, but it is originally in the non-dual. If you can understand and listen this teaching deeply, very soon your consciousness will wake up. It can wake up at any moment because your original destination is non-dual. I am taking you there only now through stillness. The expressions of your consciousness is the duality show. You only observe the duality show, but you are prior to the duality show. The more and more you observe silently, your consciousness remains wakeful. Just now, you are very much conscious of yourself. By staying beyond words, your consciousness is merging in the source itself. The more and more you settle inwardly as you are now, the more and more you stabilize inwardly as you are now. Spontaneously your consciousness wakes up and knows that it is never born, that it is already that, and it knows that the entire duality show is not real, only a reflection of light. The answer is within you, but you never go inward to find out the answer. You want answer through words. You are the answer, and the answer is within you. You need to find out by being with yourself. Why I am expounding this to you? Because your true nature, your original nature is beyond description. Your original nature cannot be described. You can use any words, till it cannot be described. I am also using some words to make you know what you are, but it is beyond words. Your consciousness knows its supreme eternity beyond birth and death only by waking up totally through stillness beyond duality. So your stillness is beyond duality, because in duality everything appears and disappears at an unexplainable speed. But at the non-dual, there's no movement, there's no object, nothing changes. At present you know the stillness within. You remain so peaceful. This is not the final, this is just the beginning of consciousness. You don't expect anything. The very expectation is the barrier. Just merge with the source constantly and observe the duality show consciously. Very easily you can wake up, because you are already and always in your original state. You need not become, neither you have changed yourself, nor you need to change yourself. Because you are more than consciousness, ever present reality, the eternity beyond limitations. And nothing has never happened to you. You only observe the show in which everything appears to happen. But the show is not real. You will know that everything is appearing, happening, and disappearing at an unexplainable speed only by abiding inwardly, by settling inwardly where there is no movement, where there is no changes. From this stillness, you observe through peace. You remain unaffected by the duality show. The more you observe through peace, the more the wakefulness. You do not know how to observe. You observe through identifications. So continuously you are trapped. Once you know to observe through peace, you are free from the show. Very easily you can wake up from the duality show. And you can know that you are the non-dual absolute truth. You are ever in the nectar state. And whatever observed within space are not you. Just now, you only observe. And whatever observed are not you. Prove me. If you are the observed, how can you observe it? You observe an object. You are greater than the object. That's why you are able to observe the object. If you are the object, how can you observe the object? Whatever observed, you are greater than whatever that is observed. Now you observe the space. You are more than space. You observe the duality show. You are more than the duality show. When you are more than the duality show and more than the object that is perceived, more than any happening that is perceived, how can the duality show or the object or the form level show affect you? Because you do not know how to observe. Now you observe the peace. Fine. And there's no object, only peace is there, with eyes closed. You cannot remain like this continuously. You need to open your eyes and move here within space. When you open your eyes, observe the duality show through the same peace, because peace neither changes nor moves. Now you know to observe the peace. Through that peace, you have to observe the duality show. When you observe through peace, you are free from the duality show. Already you are prior to the show. How can the show affect you? Unnecessarily you are identifying yourself within the show, though you are already free from the show. You are already free at the conscious level. At the form level, again and again you are trapped. Once you remain conscious of yourself, you know that only out of your consciousness every form is happening spontaneously. Then the same moment you are relieved from the show, let the show happen. And every happening is not you. You only observe. The entire duality show is happening spontaneously by the play of the elements. It is not you. You go on narrate about the duality show. My question is, who is the observer of all that you talk about, you describe about? Who is the observer? The observer is ever present. The observer is never born. Observer can never die. You are that. You only observe a show in which so many happenings appear to happen, and those happenings and form level identities also because of the elemental interaction. It is not you. You are observing an object. It is not you. The object happens out of your consciousness. So you will be free from the duality show only by remaining conscious of yourself. Your consciousness is within. Potential is within. The seed is within. Light is within. Non-dual is within. The observer is also within. Then what are you searching within the duality show? And everything is prior to duality, and there's no reality within the duality show. What are we searching for within duality show? That's why every time, whenever you search, you cannot find peace, cannot remain peaceful. Better go within, stabilize within, and settle within. At any time, you can wake up because you are already within the source. Your consciousness can wake up at any moment because your consciousness is already in the source. Note this deeply. You are already one with the source. By merging totally and observing through peace, very easily your consciousness can wake up. First, your consciousness knows the peace within. Then by observing the peace within, very easily your consciousness wakes up and knows its eternal, indescribable, unexplainable beauty beyond boundaries. Your consciousness is infinite. How it is caught by the finite show? Because it never knows that it is infinite. Just now, by closing eyes, you know the peace within. This peace is infinite. It has no beginning and no ending. Because it's infinite. Your consciousness is also infinite. By abiding in this stillness, your consciousness merges with the totality. Consciously. And it wakes up spontaneously to know what it is exactly. So your consciousness is struggling throughout the waking state of the duality show by not remaining conscious of itself. And your consciousness remains peaceful and abides beyond words constantly and starts waking up consciously. Then your consciousness totally transcends the duality and knows its eternity. So you need to be conscious of yourself and know what this consciousness is. Then only your consciousness wakes up totally and knows its eternity beyond birth and death. Whatever I am expounding is coming straight from the source, only to wake up your consciousness. Listen to these words deeply, sincerely. I am certain your consciousness wakes up beautifully and knows what it is. Because you are all already that. You are none other than that. How can you miss yourself? Better remain conscious of yourself and know the peace within, so that very easily you can wake up at any moment and know what you are exactly. I am with you forever. Be with me beyond words. Remain conscious consistently, constantly, and wake up totally.